Fast. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
Incredible.
Fast.
Incredible.
And you, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Muhammad Ali Clay, a boxing legend and the man who said no to the Vietnam War. Muhammad Ali, an American Muslim boxer who excelled in his field and received many awards, earned the title of the greatest after he became one of the greatest legends of the game throughout history and the master of the heavyweight category, the only one to win the heavyweight championship of the world 3 times and remained on the throne of the sport for nearly 2 decades. Ali had a long athletic career in which he fought 61 times, winning 56 fights, 37 of them by knockout. He defended human rights, dedicated his life to fighting discrimination, racism, refused to fight in the Vietnam War, was stripped of his title, received a prison sentence and was banned from boxing for 4 years. Born on January 17, 1942, Cassius Marcus Clay grew up with his younger brother in Louisville, Kentucky, in a middle-class black family named after a prominent 19th century abolitionist. His father, Cassius Marcellus Clay, was a Methodist. Methodism is an 18th century Protestant Christian denomination, who worked as a poster and sign painter, while his mother, Odessa Grady Clay, a domestic worker, raised him as a Baptist. He changed his name to Muhammad Ali at the age of 22 after converting to Islam.
Why don't you call me my name, man?
Well, what's your name? You told me your name was Cassius Clay a few years ago.
I never told you my name was Cassius Clay. My name is Muhammad Ali, and you will announce it right there in the center of that ring after the fight if you don't do it now.
What's my name?
Muhammad Ali Clay was first married in 1964 to Sanji Roy, from whom he separated after less than a year. Then in 1967 he married Belinda Boyd, who changed her name to Khalila after converting to Islam, and they had 4 children before divorcing in 1976. In 1977, Clay married for the 3rd time Veronica Portia, whom he had met in Zaire, Democratic Republic of Congo, in 1974, and with whom he had 2 daughters, but they divorced in 1986. In the same year, he married his 4th wife, Yolanda Williams. If not for the lure of free food, Muhammad Ali Clay might not have boxed at all. The 12-year-old rode his red and white bicycle to the Louisville Home Show, which advertised free popcorn, hot dogs, and candy for attendees. Upon leaving the fair, Muhammad Ali could not find his parked bike, so someone suggested he inform a policeman who was in the area, so he went to him. The policeman ran a gym in Columbia, Adair County, and after Ali Clay told the policeman about the matter, he asked him to let him beat the thief, and the policeman replied, "You have to learn how to fight before you challenge the world." I ran downstairs crying, but the sights, sounds, and smells of boxing got me so excited that I almost forgot about the bike. Clay later recalled in his autobiography, The Greatest. As he was leaving, Officer Martin tapped him on the shoulder and said, "By the way, we box every night, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. Here's a request if you'd like to join us."
Well, I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen, and my cousin was a boxer. He wasn't too successful, but he boxed. And he told me that he would train me if I ever catch the guy that, you know how kids think, if I ever caught the guy that stole my bicycle, well, I would know how to fight. You know, I could defend myself. Well, anyway, he took me to the gym, and he quit later, but I kept it up.
Did you catch the guy who stole your bike?
No, I never did.
You still looking for him?
No, not now. I was just a kid then, you know.
Clay began boxing in 1954 and became passionate about the sport at the age of 12 in the gym of boxing trainer Joe Martin. In his first fight, against an older fighter, he was knocked out, and within a minute he had a bloody nose and the trainer dragged him out of the ring. 6 weeks later, Clay returned and won his first fight by split decision against a novice opponent named Ronnie O'Keefe, after which he shined as an amateur, and his father, Cassius Clay, announced that his son would be the heavyweight champion of the world. Over the next 5 years, Clay's athletic career blossomed under the age of 18, winning a number of local and national awards and titles, including the 1959 Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions. Clay represented the United States of America in the 1960 Olympic Games, having begun his athletic career under the auspices of the Louisville Sponsorship Group, a syndicate of 11 wealthy white men, and won the first gold medal in Rome in the light heavyweight and heavyweight divisions, despite the difficulty he faced in the final bout against Poland's Zbigniew Peterzakowski, who had won the bronze medal in 1956. After this experience, Cassius rose from amateur athlete to Olympic gold medalist, but he threw his medal into the Ohio River immediately after his coronation, stating in his memoirs that he did so out of frustration with the reality of segregated American society at the time, when he was fired from a Kentucky restaurant while wearing his gold medal because of his black skin color. After turning professional in October 1960, Muhammad Ali Clay won 19 fights, 15 of them by knockout, and defeated a number of champions whose stars were shining at the time, such as George Wagner, Don Warner, and Henry Cooper. On February 25, 1964, Clay stunned the world when he managed to end Sonny Liston's dominance in the heavyweight division, defeating him in a famous fight that took place in Miami Beach, Florida, at a time when Liston was considered a strong opponent, having lost only one of his 36 fights up to that point, and having won the world heavyweight title in 1962 after defeating Floyd Patterson. When the fight began, Clay dominated the opening bell, raising his hands and doing a little dance in the center of the ring, and his agility and style of avoiding punches played a big role in keeping his opponent off balance. He was able to hit him with many punches and combinations that left Liston dazed and confused until he tapped out in the 6th round, indicating an injury to his shoulder, and Clay won by knockout, danced a victory dance, and was crowned heavyweight champion of the world. After being declared the new heavyweight champion, the 22-year-old addressed the press in front of a crowd of 8,297 at the convention center. After his dramatic victory over Sonny Liston in 1964, Cassius Clay announced his conversion to Islam and joined the Nation of Islam with Malcolm X. The announcement shocked the public and his millions of fans and admirers around the world. The young champion was subjected to a wave of criticism, and some attacked him, refusing to recognize his new name Muhammad Ali Clay and continuing to call him Cassius. In addition, a record company withdrew the album The Greatest, in which Clay played a starring role. A talk show scheduled to feature Muhammad Ali as a guest of Jack Parr was canceled, and the press, led by Jimmy Cannon, the dean of boxing journalists, waged a fierce campaign against the young boxer. "I asked God for prosperity and he gave me Islam. It does not matter if you are Muslim, Christian, or Jew. If you believe in God, you should believe that all people are part of one family." Muhammad Ali Clay considered his conversion to Islam as part of his spiritual and religious transformation, and realizing that Islam was a way for him to strengthen his identity and align his life and athletic endeavors with his values and beliefs, he allocated an annual income to activities that serve Islam, turned his mansion into a mosque and a school to teach the Holy Quran, and built the largest mosque in Chicago, which later became an Islamic center. In 5 decades, from the time Jack Johnson lost his title to Jess Willard in Havana in 1915 until 1966, the heavyweight title was contested only twice outside of America. However, when Clay found it difficult to fight in the United States, he took his heavyweight belt and traveled to Canada to beat George Chuvalo, then to England to get rid of Henry Cooper again, before jumping to Germany to defeat Karl Mildenberger, where the boxing organization chose him to be a goodwill ambassador in foreign lands due to his popularity with the boxing public who no longer cared about his beliefs. Muhammad Ali returned to America and gave one of the most visually stunning performances of his career, stopping Big Cat Williams in 3 rounds. In 1964, Muhammad Ali failed for the 2nd time in the tests to join the U.S. Army, due to his inability to write and language skills, and it was pointed out that his IQ at the time was far below the level required for enlistment, to which Clay responded by saying, "I said I was the greatest, not the smartest." However, 2 years later, the world boxing champion was surprised to be accepted into the Army, due to the relaxation of the selection criteria, which made him eligible for enlistment. Muhammad Ali attracted international attention for his refusal of military service on April 28, 1967, and his objection to participating in the Vietnam War as an unjustified war, not in accordance with his religion, while noting that he had no quarrel with the Viet Cong, Vietnamese fighters. My conscience will not allow me to shoot a brother or browner people or some poor starving people in the mud for the sake of the great powerful America, the world champion said, and not only that, but he led many demonstrations against the war.
Poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger.
Because of his stance, Muhammad Ali Clay was stripped of his world title, and he was put on trial for refusing to be drafted, and he was sentenced to 4 years in prison and a fine of $10,000, and he remained free during the appeal period of the decision. But he was banned from boxing in this period that extended for 3 years, before the Supreme Court issued a new ruling in 1971, stating that Ali Clay's refusal to perform military service was not a crime, but his opposition to the war was, due to a moral conscience related to his faith. Muhammad Ali returned to wearing gloves again, and on October 26, 1970, he was able to defeat Jerry Quarry by technical knockout in Atlanta, and on March 8, 1971, he faced his rival Joe Frazier in a fight dubbed the Fight of the Century. As both boxers had never been defeated before, and the fight ended with Frazier winning on points and unanimously by the judges. On March 31st, Muhammad Ali suffered his second loss on points to Ken Norton, then returned 6 months later and won a rematch, then returned in January 1974 to avenge Frazier in a rematch, after the latter had lost his title to George Foreman, and Clay was able to win the championship title. In one of the most powerful matches in boxing history, Muhammad Ali Clay won the Jungle Fight on October 28, 1974 in Kinshasa, Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo, against his fearsome opponent George Foreman, after knocking him out in the 8th round and winning the title. In Manila in October 1975, Ali Clay defeated Frazier in a rematch in which his opponent was unable to go to the final round, then lost his title 3 years later on points to his compatriot Leon Spinks, but quickly regained it a few months later, September 15, 1978, on points and by unanimous decision, becoming the first boxer to win the championship on 3 occasions. Muhammad Ali Clay announced his retirement at the age of 36. I have suffered and sacrificed more than ever before. I have nothing left to gain by fighting. Like many boxers, Muhammad Ali couldn't stay away from boxing, and he soon registered his return to the ring at the age of 38 to face the new champion Larry Hummels in 1980. But this time Ali's fitness and skill were visibly impaired, forcing his trainer Angelo Dundee to stop the fight after 10 rounds, becoming the first time in Clay's career that he ended a bitter fight in this way, before losing at the age of 40 in the last fight of his career to Trevor Berbick on December 11, 1981. On June 4, 2016, it was announced that boxing champion Muhammad Ali Clay died in a Phoenix hospital in the state of Arizona at the age of 74, after a long struggle with Parkinson's disease. Muhammad Ali's impact extends far beyond the world of sports. He was a champion for social justice, a symbol of resistance, and a cultural icon who redefined the image of an athlete. His legacy continues to inspire generations to fight for their beliefs, embrace individuality, and strive for a more just world. This video merely scratches the surface of Ali's multifaceted life. To truly understand his profound impact, one must delve deeper into his personal struggles, his tireless social activism, and the cultural context that shaped him. By doing so, we gain a profound appreciation for the man who dared to be different, a man who embodied the spirit of the greatest not just in the ring, but in the grand arena of life itself.
I like for them to say he took a few cups of love. He took 1 tablespoon of patience, 1 teaspoon of generosity, 1 pint of kindness. He took 1 quart of laughter, 1 pinch of concern, and then he mixed willingness with happiness. He added lots of faith, and he stirred it up well. Then he spread it over a span of a lifetime, and he served it to each and every deserving person he met.